I know a man, young, vibrant, full of life. He was the guy everyone wanted to be around. Energy, ambition, money, confidence. The kind of man who walks into a room and lights it up. My husband's club loved him. Even the older members, the guys who've seen everything, they'd perk up when he showed up. That's the kind of presence he had. And then something changed. Slowly at first, he stopped showing up as much. When he did come, he was quieter, withdrawn. The spark was gone. He started looking tired, pale, like something was draining him from the inside. And here's the interesting part. All of this started exactly 1 year into his marriage. 1 year. That's all it took for this vibrant man to become a shell of who he was. I knew immediately what was happening. It probably was his wife. He was being destroyed. Slowly, quietly. So quietly, he didn't even see it coming. So I pulled him aside one day at the club, had a conversation, and everything I suspected confirmed. But here's what got me. The signs were there from the beginning. He just didn't know what to look for. Because women who destroy you don't announce it. They don't show up with a wrecking ball. They do it subtly, coded, so slowly you don't realize your life is falling apart until it's already happened. Now, if you're a man over 60 who's been through marriage, you might recognize what I'm about to show you. You've seen it, maybe lived it. And if you're a younger man currently married and something in your gut is telling you that your life isn't what it used to be, that you're not who you were, this video might save you before it's too late. And if you're one of the smart ones who chose the single life, good. You dodged a bullet you didn't even know was aimed at you. Now, let me be clear, I'm not saying all women destroy men, but many do. Some do it consciously, from a place of dominance, control, warfare. Others, they don't even realize they're doing it. But either way, the result is the same. You end up broken. And as a man, you need to know the signs so relationships build you instead of bury you. Before we dive into the first sign that your partner is silently destroying you, I need you to do something. If you're new here or you've been watching but haven't subscribed, hit that button right now. Because what we're about to share and what we always share here will save you years of regret and help you live a peaceful and more fulfilled life. Hit that subscribe button now and ring the notification bell too. So here's what I discovered when I sat down with him. And here's what might be happening to someone you know, or maybe to you. Sign number 1. His health deteriorated rapidly. When I first met him 2 years prior, he was fit, active, played tennis, went to the gym, had that healthy glow about him. A year into marriage, he'd gained 30 pounds. His face looked gray. He told me he wasn't sleeping well, hadn't been to the gym in months. And when I asked why, he said she needed him home. She got anxious when he was gone too long. She said the gym was a waste of money. She made comments about his friends at the club. So slowly he stopped taking care of himself. And his body started breaking down. That's destruction. When a woman makes it difficult for you to maintain your health, when your stress levels are through the roof because of her, when you're losing sleep, gaining weight, developing chronic conditions you never had before, she's destroying you from the inside out. And what made it worse was how she twisted it when I dug deeper into their dynamic. Sign number 2. She isolated him completely. He used to have friends, a solid circle. Guys he'd known for years. Family he was close to, but one by one, they disappeared from his life. And it wasn't obvious at first. She didn't tell him he couldn't see them. She was smarter than that. She'd pick fights right before he was supposed to meet them. She'd have an emergency every time he made plans. She'd make comments about how his friends were a bad influence. how his family didn't respect her, how he always chose them over her, and eventually it was easier to just stay home than deal with the drama. So he stopped calling his friends, stopped visiting his family, and when I asked him when was the last time he talked to his brother, he couldn't remember. That's isolation. And isolated men are easier to control. When you have no one to talk to, no one to give you perspective, no one to tell you that what you're experiencing isn't normal, you start believing her version of reality. But the destruction didn't stop at his relationships, because what came next attacked his very sense of self. Sign number 3, his confidence was completely shattered. This was a man who used to make decisions easily, led projects, spoke his mind, but sitting across from me at that club, he second-guessed everything he said. He'd start a sentence and then stop. Actually, maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. She says I don't understand these things. She's probably right. Every opinion he had, he immediately doubted. And when I pressed him on it, he told me she corrects him constantly. On everything. How he loads the dishwasher, how he drives, how he talks to people, what he wears, what he eats. Nothing he does is right. And over time, he stopped trusting his own judgment. That's psychological destruction. When a woman constantly undermines you, criticizes you, makes you feel incompetent, you lose your sense of self, you become a man who can't make a decision without her approval. And that's not a partnership, that's control. And speaking of control, the next sign revealed just how deep her grip had gotten on his entire existence. Sign number 4, she controlled every dollar. He made good money, always had. But he told me he couldn't remember the last time he bought something for himself without asking her first. She managed all the finances. He didn't have access to their accounts. She gave him an allowance. An allowance. A grown man with a career. And when I asked where his money was going, he didn't know. She handled everything. He just worked and handed over his paycheck. That's financial destruction. When a woman controls your money, prevents you from building wealth, spends everything you make, or worse, hides where it's going, she's destroying your future. And financial dependence is one of the main reasons men stay in toxic relationships, because they've lost control of their own resources. Now, if you're recognizing any of these patterns, either in your own life or in someone you know, what comes next is where it gets even darker. Sign number 5. His career started suffering. He used to be ambitious, was on track for a promotion, had goals. But his work performance declined. He was missing deadlines, showing up late, calling in sick more often, and it all traced back to her. She'd pick fights the night before important meetings so he couldn't sleep. She'd call him constantly during work hour with emergencies that weren't emergencies. She'd guilt him for working late even though his job required it. And slowly, his reputation at work deteriorated. His boss pulled him aside. He was at risk of being let go. That's career destruction. When a woman sabotages your work, makes you unreliable, kills your ambition because she can't handle you having success outside of her, she's destroying your livelihood and your future. And perhaps the most heartbreaking part of our conversation was realizing what he'd lost that could never be measured in pounds or dollars. Sign number 6, he gave up everything he loved. He used to paint, had a whole studio set up, used to spend weekends hiking, played guitar, had hobbies that made him who he was. All of it gone. She said painting was a waste of time. Hiking took him away from her. The guitar was too loud, so he stopped. Put everything away. And now he comes home from work and sits on the couch, That's it. That's his life. Work and couch. That's identity destruction. When a woman makes you give up everything that brings you joy, everything that makes you who you are, she's destroying your soul. And a man without hobbies, without interests, without passion for anything, is a man who's already dead inside. And what tied all of this together was the one thing I saw in his eyes that confirmed he was in serious danger. Sign number 7. He lost his will to plan for the future. When I asked him what his goals were, what he wanted in 5 years, he just stared at me. He had nothing, no dreams, no plans, no vision, just existing. Day to day. Surviving. He used to talk about starting a business, traveling, building something. Now, he couldn't see past next week. That's spiritual destruction. When a woman drains you so completely that you can't even imagine a future, when you're just going through the motions, when survival is the best you can hope for, she's destroyed your spirit. And that might be the most dangerous sign of all. Because a man with no future is a man with nothing to live for. After our conversation, I asked him a question. Are you happy? He didn't answer right away, and when he finally did, he said, I don't think I remember what happy feels like anymore. That's when I knew how far gone he was, but here's what I told him, and here's what I'm telling anyone who recognizes these signs. You can rebuild, it's not too late. But you have to be honest about what's happening. You have to stop making excuses for her. Stop blaming yourself. Stop thinking it'll get better if you just try harder. It won't. These patterns don't fix themselves. They get worse. And if you're in this situation, if you see yourself in any of these signs, you need help getting out. Because leaving a woman who's been destroying you is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. She's spent months or years breaking you down, making you dependent, isolating you. And when you try to leave, she'll fight harder than she's ever fought before. That's why I created a free resource for men in exactly this position. It's called How to Pull Out from a Toxic Relationship. It's a complete guide on how to exit strategically, safely, and successfully without losing everything in the process. Because these situations require a plan. You can't just walk out. You need to protect yourself, your finances, your reputation, your sanity. This guide shows you how. The link is in the description and comments. Download it, read it carefully, and take action before more damage is done. Because life is too short to spend it being destroyed by someone who's supposed to love you. You deserve peace. You deserve to be built up, not torn down. And if the woman in your life is doing any of these things, you owe it to yourself to take a hard look at whether staying is worth losing everything you have left. So, if this video opened your eyes to something you've been ignoring, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And tell me in the comments, have you seen this happen to someone? Or have you lived it yourself? Share your story because other men need to know they're not alone. I'm Avery Scott, and I'll see you on the next one.